Oh, here we are, my friend. Here we are.
Me? Is that me? I'm your friend?
Yes, yes.
I thought we were more than friends after all we've been through.
Now the phones are dinging. Now we got people jumping in. So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining in. Thanks for the clicks and all that. I have Will Presley with me for another episode of the Bleedbigblue podcast, and hope everyone can hear us well. Right, Will? Can you hear me? This is always an issue at the moment.
I can hear you, but it's funny because something just happened. What will the word be? Auditorily, what will the word be? Where you said something. You just said,
go ahead. What did I say?
The Bleedblue podcast. And I think you said the Bleepin' Blue podcast. And I was like, that is really so true because it feels like that. It feels like you want to put a curse word right in the middle of it after what's happened to us lately. The Bleepin' Blue podcast.
So, I had a whole bunch of questions about. We did the new chat display on the side, and everyone was like, "Oh, I can't see some of these comments." So the podcast is simulcast through YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and I'm forgetting one. Oh, Facebook, of course. So all the comments are like aggregated on the side. So if you want to see what other people are doing, you can do that. You can do it that way. So we got the subs, we got the all good volume is fine, and let me know where you're coming in from.
Fans are out, ready to go. They're out. They're up.
Not yesterday. Last week we had some people calling in from all over. A little Palermo action, right? I believe
we did.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. So what I titled?
We got to get some more female callers and guests. I feel like you know. Where the ladies at?
Where the ladies?
You know, I don't know. Maybe Daniel Jones isn't quite. If we had like Tom Brady, if we had like one of these lookers, I don't know. No offense to DJ, he's fine, but he's kind of like boyish charm. I don't know if he could even pull off what Marco and I have going right now. So.
They ain't calling here for me. I'll tell you that much.
So get out of here! Look at you with your swag right now, looking all Eminem.
They ain't coming for the 6-year-old iPod wired old schools either.
What are you talking about?
These are hot. These are hot tech items.
Do you know why I do this? Honestly, because the mic is right here, and the other ones. I read some bad things. I mean, I know you're in the medical industry. I heard they're not so great. It's really deep in the ear canal. Not the best thing for the old.
All right.
Brain.
All right. Thank you for the advice. I got them.
That's what I'm here for.
I don't use them for here, but I got them.
What's up, Giovanni Reyes? Big Blue Elo 80.
Yeah.
Do we trust in the GM? Oh yeah, you sent me a bunch of questions, Marco, that people had. And did
any of them stick out to you?
I read every one of them, and what stood out to me was the repetitiveness of. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that Giants fans are all kind of thinking the same thing. I said sinking because that's what it feels like. The big question seems to be what to do with 11.
Yeah.
What to do with 11. And everyone seems to have narrowed it down to wide receiver and edge, which I don't know how we came to. I don't know when we decided that's what we were going to narrow it down to, but Will wants to go defense in round one. See, Jack's already got jokes.
Already jumping in with jokes. Honestly, if you look through the question feed that we had, a lot of people were saying wide receiver or edge, and there are a few people sprinkling in tight end with Pitts.
It's true. Right away, Bushwick Bill, sign number 1 wide receiver in free agency, trade Ingram, draft Pitts, edge, OL, and DB. Perfect offseason. It's a pretty good offseason. Sign a number 1 wide receiver would make things beautiful.
I think if you do sign a number 1 wide receiver, it opens things up for you.
Does. Absolutely does. And then I would potentially consider defense in the first. Trade Ingram. You know how I feel about this. I feel that having Ingram on the team is a net loss. that even if you just removed him from the team, it would probably increase our productivity, because the every 3 games having a 30, 40-yard catch and run is not as positive as the negative turnover every other game and hands drop, the drop that goes off his hands and gets, picked and all these other things, the fumbles. I think that he's actually a net loss. So trading him, I mean, you probably get a 3rd round pick, something like that.
Another, to kind of break off, another hot topic was Deshaun Watson. If the Giants could possibly trade for him, and particular trade value. It seems to me that when I was going through everything, that we're going to trade Evan Ingram, we're going to get a 2nd round pick, and we're going to get this and that. But when we try to propose a trade from another player, we offer them peanuts, and all of a sudden they're going to give us their best player.
Right.
We're going to give up a 3rd and a 5th, and Julio Jones is going to come right to us.
Right.
I'm like, it takes 2 to tango.
It takes 2 to tango, absolutely.
Do you think Chicago is going to take a shitty 3rd round and a 5th round for Julio? Chicago. Atlanta is going to take a shitty pick?
Right. No.
They'd rather keep him.
Yeah, no. I don't think – well, you want to get to Watson in a bit? We'll stick on the 11 here for a second.
Do you want to do Watson? Sure, let's go.
Well, no, I'm saying in a bit. Let's get – because I didn't finish here with Bushwick Bill, and we share a name, I'm assuming, on the birth certificate. So draft Pitts, edge. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be opposed to bringing in a wide receiver and Pitts. More weapons. Why not? Our offense is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And as my buddy Jack brought to my attention the other day, and somebody wrote about it, is if you look at the top teams that emerge each year in the NFL, the common denominator when it comes to a position is they tend to have star tight ends. And you look at the Final Four this weekend and some of the guys that are playing there,
mm-hmm.
The Gronks and the Kelseys of the world and stuff. So, I wouldn't be opposed to that. Should we go edge or wide receiver with our 1st rounder? Everyone's asking that. To me, let me just clear this up because we got a lot. This is Tommy21 asked that. Should pick in the draft. It's Johnny Boyle. Trying to give him some shout outs here. Talk about wide receiver 1. That's May Cool 25. Wide receiver or edge rusher, Timothy DR. So to me, Marco, and this is assuming, we don't know if pretending free agency doesn't exist because we don't know what's going to happen in free agency. So if they take care of 1, they obviously won't do that at number 11. To me, it's a no-brainer between wide receiver and edge for 3 main reasons, and the answer is wide receiver. Number 1, our offense is terrible. Our defense is good. Very simple. Our offense needs more help than our defense does. Number 2, we get back Zimenez and Carter, who are not great and are good at best, but we still, without them, without our 2 top edge rushers, we were still in the top half of the league in sacks. Now, I know a lot of them were cover sacks, scheme sacks, and came up the middle. But, normally, this, Marco, better than anybody, I'm just edge. I just want edge rushers, because the Giants were terrible in the sack department and stuff. But the fact that they were able to generate some pass, not great, some, and the fact that they get back their 2 best pass rushers, whereas on offense, the receivers, they don't have anybody that can really just be a game breaker. So that's what we currently have is reason number 2. I would go with wide receiver, although I do want an edge rusher. I'm not saying Zimenez and Carter are the answer. I'm just saying that it's a better situation than our offensive situation. And number 3 is value. I got a little big board that I'm about to release, and I have 3 or 4 wide receivers before I even have a single edge rusher. I mean, I have 3 receivers in the top. I think I have Chase at 3, Smith at 4, and Waddle around 8. My first edge rusher off the board, my first edge rusher on my board isn't until 15. So if you're picking at 11 and you can grab one of those top 3 receivers, I think value-wise it makes sense. So for those reasons, for need, for what we have and don't have, for how good the offense is versus the defense, and just value, forgetting what happens in free agency, in a vacuum, I think you definitely take wide receiver at 11. What about you?
I think it's really going to depend on free agency, I think chances are that it's going to be Galladay over Robinson, just because he's going to have a more friendly contract. His year this year wasn't the hottest.
Right.
Spent some time injured, but big body, strong hands, strong receiver.
Yep.
He might it be a 1-year prove it deal? Maybe no. Might it be a smaller few-year deal? Could
right.
be.
Do you think he's the answer? Do you think he's that wide receiver 1 and then he can move on?
I think now he's probably wide receiver fringe 1 that could be a wide receiver 1 when healthy.
I mean, he'd be our best.
Yeah, hands down he would.
But the question is, if you get somebody like that, do you still search for a receiver later in the rounds? Do you still consider bringing in Pitts? But I think to answer the first sort of viewer mail question that everybody was asking was wide receiver or edge. To me, then a bigger need and something you have to bring in is wide receiver over edge. And again, of course, free agency is going to determine everything. But if they come into the draft having not addressed either of those, I would definitely rather take a wide receiver.
Yeah,
at 11.
I would make it more broad. I would say receiver or playmaker, because if Pitts is there, and
he's basically a receiver.
Yeah, and in free agency, say you do pick up like a big name wideout, then I would that's giving Daniel Jones weapons, which he didn't have, or questionably had.
Yeah. What else are people asking us about here?
Galladay.
Let's see.
See, a lot of people showing the love to Galladay.
I mean, he's a big body. Let me tell you something, by the way.
Definitely fringe number 1 at the moment. Yeah.
Everybody knows about Chase and Smith and Waddle, and a lot of people know about Rashad Bateman. But there's a receiver that I think is a potential sleeper that 1 or 2 analysts have kind of high and a lot of people don't, and he's kind of the closest thing to like the big body receiver. There's really no DK Metcalf in this draft or a Chase Claypool type of guy, but there's a guy, Nico Collins from Michigan. He's 6'4", 220. He took off this year like a lot of guys did for supposed COVID reasons, get prepared for the draft. Michigan's scheme is very conservative. They had very shaky quarterback play, so his numbers were a little limited but still really good. He's got good speed, not great, but good speed. Coach says he runs a 4.45. I don't know if that's true, but at that size, anything under a 4.5 would be good enough for me. He loves contested situations, good hands, tough guy, red zone guy. That's the kind of guy that I would love to. I mean, he could be one of these guys because of his size that goes late first round, but I think if you could like somehow sneak into like grabbing someone like that later on in either the second or like the early third, I feel like that could end up being like a potential, hey, how did we not grab this guy earlier type of a thing. So just keep an eye out for that guy, Nico Collins.
Similar to how DK was found later on.
This guy's no DK. DK's draft, his combine, I had him number 9 overall, and I stand by that. I mean, he ran like a 4.3. He doesn't have an ounce of body fat on him. Nico Collins is nothing like that. I'm just saying,
not that physical freak.
No, not like that. Few are. Final season grade is what 4th Street Forever wants us to give.
I thought that was a great question, and I don't see how you could go any higher than a D.
There's so many jokes right there. I'm going to leave them alone. Listen, I can't. What do you? Let's go offense, defense, special teams, and coach. Okay.
All right.
So for me, offense has to be an F because they were second to only the Jets.
Correct.
Okay. Defense is interesting. I'm going to say like a B+, but an A given expectations. But in actuality, I'll give it like a B+.
Yeah, I would give it a B.
If that makes sense. But like I was not expecting it. So it feels like an A, but then you really look at the top defenses, I'm going to say like a B+ on that.
I think most likely we're going to be step and step. Special teams, you're thinking like a C- maybe?
I'm thinking around a C for special teams because even though Gano, he was our kicker, right?
Yeah.
Even though Gano was legit, I felt like we were expecting a lot from Judge. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. They kind of slipped up a little bit toward the end of the year. So the special teams were fine, but they still don't have a return game really. Coaching, Judge. What do you got?
I would give him probably a B minus.
That's exactly what I was going to say. We're boring, me and you. We're not like
We're
fabulous.
I had a funny feeling we were going to be step and step.
This is why we couldn't get a show on TV. It's like, I give him a B minus. I agree, and then the show's over.
Yeah, great idea.
Yeah.
You can't give him anything higher than that because look at the overall record. You're 6 wins.
Right.
I mean, I did, going back to special teams, I was hoping, we were going to see, like, in my mind, it was like, oh, special teams coach, we're going to have, 3 touchdowns from returned kicks and punts.
Right.
A punter's
fake punts and kicks.
A punt's going to throw for 4 touchdowns, and stuff like that. But maybe in his debut, he was playing that a little conservative.
Right.
Maybe not showing anything.
Graham, A.
Yeah, I mean, he proved that you can get pressure from not having edges, not having typical rushers.
I mean, I think on paper our defense is very average, and then in reality they became pretty good, and so that's why I got to give him. I think the defense became greater than the sum of its parts, and I got to give that to Graham. So I'll give him an A for the defense. And then your buddy Jason Garrett.
How do you give him anything higher than? I can't go higher than a D minus.
Yeah, I'm going D. I can't say an F because I can't blame everything on him. I don't think exactly. I don't know what he would have done, but and then so yeah, we're pretty much step and step here. And then I mean, overall grade for the team has got to be a high D or a low C if you're being optimistic.
Yeah, I don't know. I would give you. I think if you're 8 and 8, you're like a solid C. Like
That's probably if you're sticking with the formula of grading,
yeah, you're a respectable franchise at 8 and 8.
We got some questions here. What about Terrence? Actually, I think AJ. I think it's Terrace Marshall. No N there. Out of LSU. Yeah, he came on real late. He did a lot of really good things later in the year. He's kind of a bigger guy. He's sort of a little bit smaller than the Nico Collins guy I was talking about. He's legit. I think someone could take a shot on him in the late first round. LSU, there's a pedigree. He finished on a hot streak, so he got in people's minds. He climbed up people's boards. There's nothing really spectacular about him, but this draft, it lacks size for wide receiver. A lot of these receivers, Waddle and
he's a bigger boy.
Tony and who's the little guy? Rondale Moore. A lot of these guys are so small that him being 6'3" is like, oh, he's like the big guy. So I think in most people's minds, he is like the big target guy. For me, I got Nico Collins a little ahead of him. But yeah, Marshall, I think, should probably be a good NFL wide receiver. I just don't know if there's a ton of tape and a ton of knowledge about him. But Marco, the combine, not what is it? 6'3" what?
6'3", 201. He's a bigger.
He's only 201 though. Yeah. Not having I don't know if they're going to have pro days or something, but not having a combine is just going to kill every prognosticator, including me, because we got to find out the speed.
Is it officially off? I don't think it's officially off.
No, but reports are saying expect it to be completely different, not held in one place, not held over the course of a week. Like, I think they're going to do maybe regional pro days and stuff, and who knows who shows up. So nothing's official yet, but it doesn't sound like they're all heading to Indy. Jack says, what do we /prefer? Extending Leonard Williams at around $20 million per year, or Darvin Tomlinson? I guess, Jack, that's Dalvin Tomlinson's brother. Darvin Tomlinson at around 12 mil per year. Reminder, we have BJ Hill, who has done well on rotation. I'm going to defer to you, Marco. You're more of a Leonard Williams aficionado than me. I love all the big bodies, but we got Dexter Lawrence. We got all these guys.
I think we already know the hand that's being played. It's going to be Leonard Williams. They're going to extend. They're going to sign him. Dalvin, love to keep him go, and Darvin, love to keep him as well.
Darvin. Jack said that's his cousin. So,
but it goes down to it's a Jerry Reese guy. I don't think he's in love with
Tomlinson's been there for that long.
Yeah, it's not like it's his pick. It's not one of his guys. It's still
right.
one of the few that's left over from Jerry Reese. And they do have BJ Hill, who he did draft, and who is a rotational guy. And we still have Sexy Dexy. I think it's going to be Leonard Williams for 20.
Yeah,
if that happens, I don't think you're going to see it. You're going to see a Robinson or a Galladay. I think that pretty much plays our hand.
No, I think there's ways to make money here. I think when you really look at it, if you cut the right guys I think there's a way to still, if you get rid of one of those two guys and get rid of Tate, and depending on what happens with Solder, I think there's a way to get still one decent size.
Yeah, back into the middle of the cap.
I think so. Thoughts on who you think the draft. I'm reading all your questions. I got them sent to me here from Marco, but everyone's just talking about the draft. You want to talk to Sean Watson? I don't even want to talk about it because from what I hear, it's just not happening.
Yeah, it's not.
Why even talk about it? And the Giants aren't the type to do that. And Gettleman's not going to bounce with his boy Daniel Jones. He's going to ride Jones and Leonard Williams. So it's kind of like, to me, it's a moot point. Having
said all that, is that the
would you?
Yes.
I don't know anything about Deshaun Watson other than the statistics, which are really good. How old is he? 27?
Let's look up everything we need to know.
Who are you going to cut? Tate, Solder, that third tight end, Iggy Waliola, whatever his name is.
Yeah, 25 years old.
He's 25. I mean, yeah, if a quarterback is that important, but what would you give up for him? I don't know.
Would you say he's a top 5 QB in the league?
He flirts with top 5.
He's right there, right?
He flirts with it.
Do top 5 quarterbacks grow on trees? Are they easy to find? Are they easy to groom? Are they easy to acquire?
Well, okay, hold up, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
in their prime.
Rodgers, Mahomes. Yeah, he might flirt with that.
You think Breeze is top 5? You think Brady's
well,
top
I don't know. That's the thing. At this point in their career, I don't know. I really have to look at the numbers. But I guess let's say he's like floating around number 5. Would you take that guy and have him for the next, 8 years in a prime situation? You would, Marco. Yeah, but what would you give up for him, though? Whatever you had to? You think he could take he couldn't take this offense right now with this line and these receivers and win, and you'd have no draft picks for the next 2 years if you got them.
I don't know. I think you give up. I don't think they would do it. I don't think they want Jones. I think they want picks.
Right.
So you're gonna mortgage your future off on that. You're gonna have to give them a bevy of picks. They're gonna want multiple number 1s.
That's why some people are saying it makes more sense for the Jets to do something like that.
I think the Jets are a good fit for him. Jets, San Francisco.
Because even you'd rather have him. I mean, like, it's almost like, would you rather have him or would you rather have Watson or Trevor Lawrence?
I would go with something I already know. It's
right.
A known factor rather than Trevor Lawrence is you don't know until he starts playing.
Right. So, but I don't think it's going to happen with the Giants.
No, I would be absolutely stunned.
What else we got here? Some people ask him what we think about Daniel Jones.
Intel is saying
Um,
Hudson has a no trade clause. Yes, we know that, but he's willing to waive it officially.
what do we think about Daniel Jones? I think this will be a big year to tell. Like I've said, he hasn't shown enough where you feel totally confident moving forward with him, but he hasn't, given the fact that his line gives him no time, given the fact that he has no one to throw to, and given the fact that the numbers seem to show when he has time and has somebody to throw to, he's actually very good. It's like he hasn't been bad. He's been just good enough where you still want to see what he can do. Biggest issue with him is pocket presence. I think he's like maybe one of those smart dumb guys. You know what I'm saying, Marco? Where it's like he doesn't. I don't know. It's like, do you understand? It's like sitting on train tracks in your car. It's like the train's coming. It's like you gotta move. You see those things coming down? Ding, 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 ding. That means you gotta move the damn car. But
maybe he's too trustworthy of his receivers. Like, oh, they're gonna break open now. Break open now. Still tightly covered. Now, do you want to take some phone calls?
You want to take some calls?
Sure. The call-in is 347-946-2826. I have the phone right here.
I'm going to call in right now.
Linked up. So 347-946-2826. Do I have a do not disturb on? That will make it difficult.
Evan Hendrickson. If you could have one player in the league on the team, who would it be? Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, and
pre-concussion.
Yeah. Does anyone know his status for tomorrow?
They said he's cleared everything, but they still don't know what the protocol is going to be. So it'll be interesting to see what he wants to do, what the team wants to do, what the NFL wants to do.
We'll see.
But I was watching some film on Darisaw and Slater today.
Mm-hmm.
Top two offensive tackles outside of Sewell.
Yeah.
I think Darisaw is a little just bigger, a little smoother, and seems to just swallow guys up a little more. Slater, dude, is good and he's tough. He holds more than any football player I've ever seen in my entire life. He holds on every play. Sometimes, like, literally, the guy's running past him and he's just like yanking on his arm. It's like, I'm so afraid if he was on the Giants, he would get called for holds. And I think he might be better off as a guard. But I have Darisaw reminds me of Wirfs. And after what happened last year, I would love to have a Darisaw on the team because I'd love to have a Wirfs on the team.
But you changed your mind.
What's up?
When did that become official?
When did what become official?
You were Thomas pre-draft. You were Thomas.
I said I would be okay with Thomas or Wirfs. I'm not trying to backtrack here, but I decided to stick with Thomas, and we'll still see what happens there. Option 1, Waddle or Smith with T.E. Arnold. T.E. Arnold sounds like a poet. I don't know Arnold. Was he out of the draft? Waddle or Smith? Like Waddle or Samuel? I think Samuel, is he a big guy though? He's not, right?
T.E. is for, I don't know either.
A.Z. Eh?
Oh, Dan Arnold. Dan Arnold's from Arizona.
Yes, that's the thing. 5'10" on Samuel. So we have a bunch of 5'10s right now. That's why Samuel and Waddle is a player. I'll trust my boy Jack on that. I gotta think Waddle's a little bit better. There's more potential there. Is Samuel as fast as that? Maybe he is. But anyway, Marco.
Mm-hmm.
So would you be okay with the Giants going defense at pick number 11? I know Hill's 5'10". He's got a crazy quarterback, a lot of other offensive weapons, and he's a special player.
Would I be okay with them going? Yeah, I would be okay with them going.
I'm having these battles on Twitter, man. Every week I come on here and I try to just talk sense into the Giants fans. I love all Giants fans, but the way people stick up for this offensive line, Marco, it's like it's family. It's like it's their family. I don't know what to do. I had someone today saying Here's an argument that I have to bring up.
Nick Gates is amazing.
What's up?
Nick Gates is amazing.
This is what people say. Forget the offensive line. We need a true number 2 corner. We don't have a true number 2 corner. Mm-hmm. And today I realized, okay, let me put it this way. We don't have a true number 1 left tackle, left guard, center, right tackle, tight end, or maybe even quarterback. So before we start trying to worry about getting a true number 2 corner, maybe we should worry about getting actual number 1s on the offense.
I feel like you're digging at me because last week I was like, would you take a corner at 11?
No. And again, we're 6-10, so you're going to have holes all over the field. But people said we have more. Someone said to me today, we actually have more holes on defense than offense, and Graham just covered them up. I'm like, great. Well, Graham's coming back, and so are 4 defensive starters. And our defense was 9th with all the holes everyone's talking about. And our offense was 31st, and our offensive line was ranked 31st. So will the O-line probably get better? Are they very young? Will they probably improve? Yes. But how fast are they going to improve? And by what margin are they going to improve? And can we afford to sit here and wait for this thing to mature for a couple of years, hoping that they all pan out? And then the person was replying to me, or somebody else said, hey, the offensive line was great by the end. They got really, really good. So I did a quick little stat search. Dude, the Giants gave up 17 sacks in the last 4 weeks of the season. Mm-hmm. That's much. That's the momentum you want to ride into next year. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, Marco. We have just lowered the bar so much.
Weren't 16 of those sacks from Marcus Golden on Arizona?
What do you say?
16 of those sacks were from Marcus Golden on Arizona.
So again, Intel and Mike A sticking up for Thomas. Thomas is the left tackle, or he's at least one of your tackles. I get it. He was a little below average this year. Hopefully he'll be a little above average next year. Hopefully he'll be good the year after that. I know. I'm not bitching. I understand. I'm not an idiot. We have to be all stars next year or we're losers. No. You let Thomas mature or whatever, but you can't have a bunch of unprovens and hope they all pan out, right? Zeitler's our only actual offensive lineman that we can truly trust right now. You need a couple more of those guys so that Thomas can mature without having to be your best lineman next year. Like, you should let the rookie be able to be a liability once in a while, or the second-year player. You can't have 4 rookies and second-year players all trying to figure it out at the same time.
And half the Giants fan have Zeitler out the door anyway.
That's the other thing. If you do that, who are you going to bring? You're going to be worse on the offensive line, because usually rookies won't be, even if you drafted one in the first round, or which they wouldn't do. So in the second or third round, those guys are not going to be able to step in and be Zeitler right away. So I just think it's integral that between free agency and our first 2 picks, out of those 3, which are the big playmakers you bring in my opinion, one has to be a receiver, and it will. They'll do that. But one of them should be an offensive lineman, and they won't. They're not going to do that. They're going to go receiver, they're going to go edge, and they're going to go corner, in my opinion, unless like a Parsons drops. I don't think they're even looking offensive line, and that's what upsets me. But anyway, yeah, we got some people here. O-line needs all attention. Some people, I think, I'm starting to see more people talk about it. And that's another thing, Marco, they were talking about when you were showing me the questions they were asking. Should we address the offensive line? I think we absolutely should. I just think the value of bringing in one real good guy, Tooney from the Patriots, Scherf from the football team, Lindsley from the Packers. They're all pro caliber. They're all free agents. You bring one of them in, plug them in, and then you can let the offensive line kind of mature and become what it is. Jones has more time. Saquon's back off of the second straight year of losing out for injury. He needs some more openings than some other guys do. Once he gets the opening, we've talked about this, he's better than everybody, but he needs those holes. So, yeah.
I want you to look at this pinned comment. Are you ready for that?
Yeah, let's hear it. I don't even have Surtain as my number 1 corner. I have Farley from is that Virginia Tech, I think. I was actually just watching him earlier. He's tenacious. What I like about Surtain he's the best tackler of the top three guys. Farley, Surtain, and Horn. And he's real understated. It's funny. The other guys are all hopping and leaping around after every play, pounding their chest. I mean, Farley's like obnoxious, but he's good. But Surtain's a real good tackler. He's got a real good head in his shoulders, and he's legit, but I'm not sure he's even the top corner in the draft. But would you take a corner at 11? We're the worst at drafting corners, dude.
Man, I always like to have two dominant corners. I do. I think that changes.
What do you mean you always like to have? When have we ever had that? What do you mean you always like to have?
I would like to have.
You would like to have. Not I always like. You make it sound like we've always had this and like you miss it.
No, I tried. It just never happens.
The last good corner the Giants drafted was Jason Stehorn, and then they had him blow his knee out returning a kick in a preseason game against the Jets. Julian Love, I liked a lot, and hopefully he can get better, and we'll see what happens there. No more CB in the first round.
I know.
Got the Freemason symbol in there. I'm sure Gettleman's going to draft a lineman. I don't think he's going to because he's drafted so many already. They right now on the team, on the roster, have 8 guys he's drafted who have started at least one game.
They don't seem to be afraid to overdraft a position. Last year's draft, several linemen, 555 linebackers. So,
but at the top of the draft, though, I just don't see him bringing in like a third left guard in 4 years. They love Gates. I mean, everyone loves Gates. Well, what position would they really replace? They're going to wait on Pert probably a little bit. Fleming is his guy, right? So,
they're not guard, right? They're not going to do left guard because they think that's going to be Lemieux or Hernandez, depending on if he shows up this year.
Again, we don't know what they're going to do. If they don't bring in a wide receiver, in free agency, I believe they're going to draft a wide receiver if one of the big 3 falls to them. And I think it's about a 25% chance Chase falls to them. I think it's about a 30-35% chance Devontae Smith falls to them, maybe even higher. And I think it's probably a 50-60% chance that Waddle falls to them. So I think I'm not a mathematician, but there's like an 80% chance one of those guys drops to the Giants. And I think they'll take them if they have not already brought in a receiver. I think that's definitely the pick that they go for. If they do bring in a receiver in free agency, I do not think they draft a receiver at 11. I think they probably go with like Kwity Paye, who I have 4th on my edges, but everyone else has number 1. I think they'll bring in probably somebody like him or a corner. That's actually what I think. I haven't really given it much thought.
You don't think Pitts?
No. I think if they bring in a wide receiver in free agency, they will bring in an edge rusher or a corner at 11. Probably Paye if he's there. If he's not, Rousseau or Ojulari, or a Surtain or Farley. Probably at corner. That's what I think they'll do. I don't think they'll double up on offense.
Rousseau's the one that's stayed out this year, right?
Rousseau's the one who had the big red shirt freshman year at Miami and then took the year off. Yes. So no one knows what to make of him. He's 6'7", 6'6.5", 255. He had a monster year at Miami 1 year, and then he wouldn't have played football for a year and a half after that. And by the way, I just found out that my number 5 edge, who I have in the 30s on my board, Jalen Phillips from Miami, he retired in 2018 from football because of concussions and then came back. So, no thank you. Okay. No thanks. Let's see. Kyle Pitts. I would take Pitts, sure. I'm not saying I wouldn't double up on offensive weapons. I'm saying I don't think they would. And if they have Ingram is no, wait. Ingram's not a Gettleman, is he?
Ingram is a Reese guy.
Right. Would you take a risk on Juju? I don't think he fits their type because of all the crap that's happened.
I wouldn't, yeah.
But as a player, I mean, I don't know. I don't really care anymore. Like, he's pretty good. No more CB first round. Do you like Julian Love? I kind of do. This and that confidence. Hey, fellas, I agree with Marco. If the top 3 wide receivers are gone, we should most definitely take one of the top 3 DBs. Please stay away from the Miami kid. So there you go, Marco. You would take a DB right there.
Getting a little love.
But Todd, let me ask you this, and please respond to this if you'd like. If the Giants do not get a receiver in free agency, are you still saying if the top 3 receivers are gone? Well, actually, no, that's fair, because the next receiver would be like a Bateman, and he's a little bit out of the league. So I'm not sure. That's interesting. If they don't take a receiver, Marco, in free agency, and the big 3 receivers are gone by 11, do you take the next best receiver, or do you just wait till the second round? I almost feel like they need a receiver so bad. I know people hate reaching. They need one so bad if you're not going to get in free agency. If you're going to wait till the second round, they could all the legitimate guys could be gone. Like, you might just have to take a guy at 11 that you have at like number 18 on your board if he's a receiver. I couldn't be mad if they took Bateman at 11.
I think they need a playmaker, and I don't know. Is 11 too high for a tight end for Pitts?
No, because he's doing things that most guys don't do. He's not your typical best tight end in the draft this year. I mean, he's grading out and doing things like he could be, I don't want to project this, but like the next Kelsey or like the next tight end that's like a sick receiver. Intel says Pitts is a beat. I also think he's a beast, but he is a beast. I got to stop doing what I'm doing, Marco. I'm having too much fun. They're writing. You know what? I forget it, Giants fans. You guys are writing really fast because you want your comments and you're enthused. So I'm not going to make fun of the grammar anymore. It's just funny to me. I'm done. Todd, best player available. I hate when people say that. Because in theory, what if the best player available is a running back 5 rounds in a row, 5 years in a row? Like, you have to consider need at some point. So what if the best player available is a D tackle? We're going to take another D tackle. So, you know. Anyway, now Intel, don't say my bad. I'm just breaking balls about the.
We will get a free agent wide receiver. I'm sure that is just a matter of which one.
I think there's an 80% chance they grab a receiver in free agency, and then the question becomes, what do you do at 11? There's also so many players I would take at 11 that I'd be willing to trade, but I'm always willing to trade. So basically,
we got a lot of Todds in the chat, huh?
Is that not the
Todd Lewis? All right, Todd. Thank you, Todd. Aaron Ross.
Don is tweeting out, is texting us the names, writing to us the names of corners the Giants have drafted, but I can't tell if he's saying they were good investments or bad investments. I think probably bad.
Aaron Ross, mediocre. Well, not mediocre.
No, Ross was not good.
He wasn't bad.
No, but I've never seen them. And Corey Webster, in my opinion, he had that big pick and a good playoff in 2007, but I kind of think that masked some of his not so great play. Take the DB if the top three wide receiver, period. I don't know. I kind of think we need an edge rusher, maybe more than I can't tell if we need an edge rusher more than a DB. They both kind of play into each other, right? Because the better your pass rush is, then DBs don't have to be as good. But if your DBs are great, then you can generate a pass rush. But God, I'm sick of them. I'm sick of seeing them not be able to get pressure off the edge. The DB class is stronger than the edge class, though. I will say that.
All right, so let's look.
Josh, I agree. I just don't like bringing in corners that early. And I'm just so scared after what happened with Akuda last year.
So last one is Baker, which we all story.
Yeah.
I think before that is Prince, probably.
Prince Mukamura, day late and $1 short. Well, we're talking about like in the first round, right?
Yeah.
Then there was Aaron Ross. There was Eli Penny. Was that his name?
Third round of Hosley, I remember.
Eli Apple. Why did I say Eli Penny? Who was that? Was he a fullback?
Yeah.
Eli Apple, another one.
Yeah.
And you know what? I've said this before. All the corners we draft in the first round, Marco, not only don't they pan out, they all have the same issue, and it's an uncommon issue. They all have social issues. Do you know this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, think about it. Prince Mukamura was beat up by his own teammates. They threw him in the tub. They didn't respect him. He didn't want to be in the locker room with them. Eli Apple, they said he couldn't even make toast. He was a complete mama's boy. She did all of his talking for him and his laundry and stuff and then DeAndre Baker's hanging out with the wrong crowd. We don't know. There's a million stories about what happened, but not the right place to be. It's just weird. Whenever we draft a DB,
it's true.
You just know he's gonna, well, let's not say a DB because of Xavier. Let's say a CB. Mm-hmm. Jack wants us to sign a veteran corner as insurance. Let Beal and Love try to become CB2. Corner is fourth on our needs list. I think Jack has it as
Beal
wide receiver, edge, O-line, and then corner.
Is Beal going to be back? Do we even know what he is? This is like the 7-year project of missing our.
I don't know at this point. JPP clone but bigger. Who, Don? Who's a JPP clone but bigger? Is he talking about Rousseau, maybe? Who's bigger than 6'5.5" with long arms?
Did he rewind and his comments are still current?
I don't know, but who's JPP clone but bigger? The only person I could think of is the 6'7" Rousseau, but that would be pretty high praise. All right, Joshua says if we can't get a wide receiver, I think edge would definitely be the move. I'm never going to argue with that. I'm not a college analyst, but if there is a true edge rusher, that is definitely the move. In my opinion, we can't keep pouring money into the defense. Yeah. The edge class there's no Bosa, there's no Chase Young. People, the person that people are highest on is Kwity Paye. He's a little bit of a project. He reminds me of Ed Oliver. He's a little thick. He's like 270. I have him fourth on my depth chart, but most people think he's just such a physical freak that he could be around a number 10 type of pick. So that's something I think the Giants could end up doing. I think there's like 4 guys that I wouldn't be mad if the Giants grabbed at 11. Joseph Asai from Texas, Azeez Ojulari from Georgia, Rousseau from Miami, even though I'm scared of that pick. But if they evaluate him, or if there's a combine or something or a pro day and he looks good, or Kwity Paye, because I don't claim to be a professional analyst. I do my own homework and stuff, but everybody thinks he's so great. I'll trust people to some extent. So if they grabbed one of those 4 at 11, I wouldn't be mad at it. I'd love an O-lineman, though.
Here is something.
What do you got?
From Intel. We need to be scoring 30 points or more. Can we win? Only scoring 14 or whatever, 9?
Well, that's my fear, Marco.
Come on.
That we bring in edge. If we do what all the fans want, 1 wide receiver, edge, corner, linebacker, we're going to lose every game 13-10. So what the hell's the point of that?
Are you calling for boring-ass games then, huh?
Losing. Texas kid makes me nervous. I don't know why Texas can make me nervous. Osai's had 2 really good years in a row. He's extremely consistent, and he's a very, very good tackler. But I know PFF's not huge on him. Marco, I made a list of players I'd be okay with the Giants taking in the first round. It's called players I'd be okay with the Giants taking in the first round.
Good name.
Sewell, Lawrence, Chase, Smith, Wilson, Pitts, Waddle, Darisaw, Slater, Fields, Osai Ojulari, and then maybe Vera Tucker at guard because I love O-linemen. Maybe Bateman, maybe Cosme. Probably not Cosme. And if I'm forced into Micah Parsons, if I'm forced into it, maybe. But I just can't see us grabbing linebacker. I know people say he's like a top 3 talent in this draft, but I don't know. Let's see. Rams had the best defense. Oh, look, it's not about every year the best defense or the best offense doesn't win the Super Bowl. It's about having a combination. But
Yeah,
the thing I keep saying to people is our defense would benefit greatly from adding pieces. But the bottom line is after 16 games, our defense was ranked 9th and we get 4 starters back and our offense is ranked 31st. And yeah, we get Saquon back, but I'm not going to put too much weight into that. So I would love to add 1 O-lineman and at least 1 weapon. And then, yes, on the defense, if they could bring in a legitimate with a second round pick or something, a legitimate corner or a legitimate edge rusher, just imagine our defense last year plus Xavier for a full year, Zimenez, Fackrell, and Carter, plus 1 really solid player added to that defense. I think that's a good enough defense for where we're at right now. I think if we want to maximize wins for next season, we have to put more into the offense than 1 wide receiver.
Yeah, you never make a perfect roster. You never compile a perfect team. You never, you never fill all holes. It's just how managing it as best.
Yeah. Does it even matter when Jason Garrett's the coordinator? Marco, I don't know, man. What do you think? Who is he interviewing with? The Charger? No, Chargers.
They hired some other guy, so I haven't heard him being linked to anyone else. So
God, I can't believe I
don't see him getting fired.
I want Justin Herbert. I've been wanting Justin Herbert for so long, and he's going to go ahead and he's going to just be so much better. I'm not going to say it, but I don't want to jinx anything. I'm just very upset.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm very upset about things.
I put out when Justin Herbert originally went back into college, I put out a video like prior to that. I was like, oh, I hope he comes out and the Giants take him. He's gonna be good. And everyone trashed me.
Did they?
Yeah, of course.
I was high on him, and then I'm not gonna lie, I cooled a little bit when I saw everything, but I was still excited for him to potentially. Justin Herbert had Allen, and we have Ingram.
Yes, we know we have no weapons, or we have underutilized weapons, or I don't know.
Let me see what else we got. How do we feel about this, that? We need a quarterback, people said. Do you think the Giants should draft an O-lineman? Yes, but it's tricky drafting an O-lineman.
I don't think the first pick should be.
It's tricky, right? First pick, O-line. I mean, there are 3 beasts in this draft class. They're all going to go in the first half of the first round. So the Giants no one's going to split back to the Giants. There's Sewell, who could go anywhere from the first pick on. I mean, he's not going to go first pick, but there's Slater from Northwestern, who took off this year, who people have slated as a guard probably, but some people even have him ranked higher than Sewell at tackle or on offensive line in general. And then there's Darisaw, who's PFF's boy, who I watched and he's just really, really solid. I mean, he's just big, he's strong. Those 3 guys, he's from Virginia Tech. Those 3 guys are legitimate, first round picks. And if you got them in the top 10, you can't argue about it. We got that phone line up there, Marco?
I don't know if the phone's going through.
What kind of draft are we looking for? I think Plax was the last big-time free agent receiver we got. We should draft one because we're cheap.
That is true, though. The phone is 347-946-2826. If you guys want to chime in, call in. If it's not going through, leave a voicemail. I could throw that on, but I'm not sure if it's acting tricky.
If you could recreate history, which quarterback would we have right now? I just said Justin Herbert.
No.
What?
I would go back.
What?
We would have Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, but you're going to go – did we ever really consider him? It wasn't Eli's last season.
So this is, as I know it with some inside information, this is exactly how I know
it. Alert. Inside information alert, everybody.
The Giants were not going to trade up for him, but if he was to fall to where Evan Ingram was going to be picked.
Leatherwood's good, but I don't see him being any better than an Andrew Thomas, so why bring him in my opinion?
It's not picking up. Hold on.
Slater is the OL solution. He's a number 1 at guard or tackle if Pert develop. I would love Slater. I would love Slater. You throw him a guard or a tackle, absolutely. But you have to play the rest of it right
Are
then.
you hearing the ring?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just talking over it for good TV. It wasn't you weren't able to pick it up?
No, I don't know why it's not letting me pick it up.
Slater, yeah, but the only way you could draft an offensive lineman in the first round, which they will not do, would be you'd have to take a receiver, in my opinion, in free agency, and then grab someone like Slater at 11, and then the rest of the draft just you grab a solid end in the second round or DB, and then the same thing in the third round, D end or DB, and to me that will be a really solid draft. But the Giants, I don't think they're going to take an offensive lineman again. I don't think there's too much pride there.
Poll's not going through. All right, let me try to fix that. I don't know what's going
on. What else?
Don, is it going to voicemail? If it's going to voicemail, you could leave a voicemail and I'll pick that up.
Yeah, Jason, Leatherwood is in no man's land, in my opinion. In my opinion, he's not good enough to take in the first round. He's like a late first round guy who will not drop to us in the second round. So I don't think you're going to get someone like that. He's not any better out of college. He's not quite even where Andrew Thomas was coming out of college. So just to bring in another guy in the realm of a Thomas or a Pert, someone like that who's pretty good and maybe he'll get better, that's not necessarily the play. If they're going to bring one in, they should either do it in free agency or they should bring him, be one of those big three guys first round of the draft, in my opinion.
Oh, going back to what I was saying. So, yeah.
What do you got?
Ben McAdoo.
Mahomes. Go ahead. Tell me how. Get me depressed before bed.
Ben McAdoo was high on Mahomes. Jerry Reese was.
Ben McAdoo was high on something, but go ahead.
Yeah. He was high on pot news now. He was high on Mahomes. Hello. Why isn't it going through?
That's odd. Are you trying to pick it up? You want to just put it on speaker?
It's on. No, I don't want to flash the guy's number. I'm not going to dox him.
Just talk to him and be like, ask me a question quick, and then relay the question to me.
Go to voicemail.
JT10 doesn't think Galladay is good enough to be a true number one. I don't know about A-Rob either. Allen Robinson? I think Allen Robinson's really good now. Rumor is they like Pert. Yeah, rumor is they love all their offensive linemen, which is why I don't think they're going to go anywhere with offensive line. Thomas is their boy. They love Pulley. Geez, they love Gates. They love Pert. That they're just not going to address it, and they're not going to bring in a third left guard in 4 years. I just don't think they're going to do it. So they're going to do what every fan is saying they should do, or 80% of the fans. The offensive line's young. They got better. It's okay. And Jones is going to get his ass kicked next year. We're never going to know what he could have done. So that's unfortunately what I think is going to happen. And you can believe in Leatherwood if you want. I just don't think he's worthy of 11, and he won't be there at 43. And that's where winning that extra game sucks, Marco. Do you still carry a feeling with you right now? Do you still think about every day, hey, we beat Dallas? Do you think about it? Have you thought about it today?
No.
Did you think about it yesterday?
Nope.
When you go to bed at night, do you think about it? But do you think about the fact that we have the 11th pick and the 43rd pick instead of the 7th pick and whatever that becomes, the 39th? I'm just saying. I'm not trying to be a bad fan here. I'm just saying.
But at the moment,
it might cost us or a chase or a really good second round pick. Go ahead. At the moment, what?
I was happy.
In the moment, you were happy.
Yeah.
Right. This is why people do drugs and have one night stands that lead to pregnancies. Right. That's always good to just live in the moment and never think about the consequences of your actions. That's how people wake up with sticky situations. Let's see. They have to grab a right guard or left guard for the future. I'm not going to ever argue with anybody on this show, Marco, that says we need to bring an offensive line. It's just that important. There's 5 guys. As the O-line go, you cannot be a good football team without a good offensive line. It's like the number one rule of football. Unless you have a Wilson or a Mahomes, which we don't. He can run, but he's not an elusive guy in the pocket.
Offhand Bandit 15.
Offhand Bandit.
I love the name too. Loving Judge and how players respond to him. What are we going to do if Garrett leaves or they fire him? So,
what are they going to do if Garrett's not there?
I think we talked about it.
I think they'll pop forks.
I don't think they were going to fire Jason Garrett at all, considering 2 weeks ago they were saying if we lose him to a head coach, prospect, they don't know what they were going to do, and it's going to be Daniel Jones' third offensive coordinator in 3 years. It's a mess. It's a mess that should have been thought before hiring him.
What can he learn though? Like, are these people too rigid though? Like, after you've been a coach for so long, he's been a head coach. Like, is he really going to sit there and have some kind of epiphany and be like, "Hey, I need to put more guys in motion.
No,
I need to run this after that. We shouldn't run the ball, after an incompletion on 1st and 10.
No,
we should just commit to throwing."
Maybe his offense can open up if he has Saquon, if we draft the number 1 wide receiver, or if we take a tight end, or if we bring in a free agency. Maybe he could do more with more talent.
Yeah, I'm just disappointed because, look, the bottom line is last year, not 2020, in 2019, our offense was like 15th or 16th in football. Do you know that?
Yeah, under Pat Shermer, they were able to move the ball and score.
What?
Under Pat Shermer, they were able to move the ball and score.
So this same offense was, a different offensive line and whatever, but with Jones a quarterback, this and that, Barkley hurt, same offensive weapons. Just the year before, their offense was twice as good. The only major variable is they brought in Jason Garrett, and the offense screeched to a halt. So, I don't know. You tell me.
All right, let's see if this works. Let me know if you could hear this. Nope.
I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Sure.
See, I'm in Raw.
Got it. All right, gentlemen. Ready?
What do we got?
You
playing a message?
Ready? It went to voicemail.
Hey, fellas, if I'll go second round with us, I would like either Terrence Marshall from LSU, and I really like the kid out of USC, Amon Ross St. Pierre, playmaker. And I like the kid Trill Williams from Syracuse University. Very versatile defensive back who's just a playmaker, especially punt return and kick return.
All right, that's where it cuts off.
A lot of people talking about – what's up?
Did you get a name?
No.
Yeah,
I don't think so. A lot of people are talking about second round receivers and who we should bring in the second round.
It's like the third time today someone's mentioned Marshall from LSU.
It is, and I mean, here's my little depth chart right here of my wide receivers. If this is going to come in clearly at all, I'm not sure. Is it coming in? No.
Oh, Jamar Chase. got my head really cool.
Nah.
Chase Smith.
I've got Chase at 3. I've got Smith at 4. I've got Waddle at 8. Then there's a drop, and I've got Bateman 24. He will go in the first round. I've got Nico Collins from Michigan. Again, my little sleeper here, and I implore people to take a look at this guy. 6'4", 220, contested catches, tough guy, good speed. I've got him as my next wide receiver at 30. After that, I've got Kadarius Toney, the shifty human joystick from Florida. The only thing I don't love about him is he doesn't have breakaway. As quick and fast as he is, he gets caught from behind once in a while. After him at 38, I've got Marshall. And after that, I had all of Olave, but then he just said he's going back to school. So that hurts for the Giants. I don't know if you knew that, Marco.
No, I did
from
not.
Ohio State. Chris Olave, he was projected by most to be a second round pick, some maybe even late first round, and he's returning to school, which kind of hurts. Marshall is good. He's good. He's a good player. That Amon-Ra St. Brown, whatever, from USC, he's good. But I don't think these guys are true number ones. I don't think that they're going to be the kind of guys that are going to be number ones. I think my cutoff for who's going to be a true number one is Chase Smith Waddle, Bateman, and I kind of want to sneak Nico Collins in there as a potential number one. After that, once you get to Tony and Marshall, I just wouldn't bank on that being enough, but it would certainly be a welcome piece.
Better, yeah. Bateman is a beast.
Batman.
Not Bateman.
I had to do that one. It says Batman. Nobody can be successful with Ingram, Slayton, and Old Man Tate. Tate's gone. I think we all agree with that one. Ingram, I mean, if it's weird. I was going to say there's never been a better time to trade him because he just got named an all pro, but I think people know that he also is coming off his worst season. But like I've said to you before in the past, if you said to somebody all pro tight end, 26 years old, you'd be like, that's a first round pick right there. You can get that.
Yeah, if you give
maybe
it
a second at worst.
If you
for
give
him, probably a third or fourth.
I know. Trade Barkley, then pick up a running back in lower rounds of the draft. How much do you think you're going to get for Barkley coming off an ACL there?
Yeah, it depends. No, it's all good, peaceful-ish. I like Batman. Some people calling him Batman anyway. But that's it, man. And
Waddle or Pitts, and live with the results.
Well, that assumes Chase and Smith aren't there, I think. And there's still, I'm telling people, there is a chance Chase or Smith drops to the Giants. Remember, last 5 years, first receiver off the board has gone on average at number 16. So there's still a chance we can land one of those two big guys if you want. You don't trade Barkley. I just wouldn't trade him because it's like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't have the heart to trade Barkley. I would trade Evan Engram for a pylon cam.
So the voicemail is up and running. The calling for some reason is not connecting. I'm not sure why.
Give us a call, folks.
Yeah, if you want to throw a voicemail on there, please do so. And the number on that is 347-946-2826. Boom.
Boom.
Let's see. Chase and Smith are on board, and Allen Robinson signed. Who do you pick?
I wouldn't take either of them. If Allen Robinson signed, I would not take a wide receiver in the first round. I would potentially take Pitts. I would potentially take the best available offensive lineman. I would potentially take best edge. And just to make Marco happy, I would potentially take corner. But mostly I would take something along the offensive defensive line. Or, yeah, hell, I mean, but if they took Pitts, would they have to get rid of Ingram? They wouldn't carry both, right?
I don't think they would.
Would they really have the heart to get rid of it? I mean, is this really something they might do?
Because he has a favorable contract. He's in his last year. It's screaming trading for Pitts.
Grab a wide receiver, tight end with a second round. Grab an LG or a right guard. Yeah, there might be one. Vera Tucker might be the one guard if he's still there in the second round that's worth taking. But I wouldn't be huge on taking a lineman. If we're going to take a lineman, I think the only worthwhile thing to do would probably be to take one in free agency or in the first round.
A lot of people disagreeing with me. They could carry two tight end system. They could carry both. That's had Gronk and Hernandez. Very good, but this is not Gronk or Hernandez. We're talking about everything. All you were screaming every time he dropped the ball or a drop turned into a pick.
I mean, you know how I feel. Like I said, the fact that I would get rid of him anyway. Then again, well, I was going to say, because people say, well, if you have Pitts taking most of the load, and then Evan Ingram's just like a guy who just gets open once in a while and kind of whatever. But even so, I don't want to ever see the ball go near that guy's hands again. But. So that's the deal. I mean, I think, we could use a linebacker, but I would take a linebacker later in the draft or sign a small time guy with some extra money or whatever. But I think Allen Robinson's supposed to be really good. I think he's probably the best of the crop of the guys that are out there. It's funny because people are high on Godwin. And I know my buddy Jack says he's the best of all the guys out there. And so I started paying attention to Godwin more these past 2 weeks. And he has so many drops these past 2 weeks. He looks so bad. The announcers are ripping on him. He's running bad routes. I'm like, dude, this is your guy. You know what I mean? But, obviously it's just a small sample size. He's obviously a very good player.
Stick with it. I think they're going to sign Galladay. I
think most people are saying that.
It's not going to be a 1-year prove-it deal. It's going to be decent, but not a bank breaker. And they'll probably be able to re-sign Leonard Williams and maybe bring in a few pieces here and there.
All right. Jack, I'd rather trade Ingram, but definitely see them carrying both. And Judge came from the Pats, so that's why. Maybe Ingram. I forget it. That's really rude. I forgot what happened to Hernandez.
All right, we're live from Palermo. Was it Palermo?
Tutto azzurri. I can do that. I'm Italian. It's not
There you go.
racist.
Marco, we definitely. Oh, it shuts it
I
off.
said Marco and Will, but thanks for just saying Marco.
Marco and Will, we definitely
Thank you very much.
bring in wide receiver and a tight end to fix our offense, and also fix special team issues.
Special
team issues.
Well, special team issues tend to be okay. It's coaching and it's who's your return guy.
What's his name? Fumbling. How many fumbles does he do on the kick return? It was driving me crazy.
Oh,
It's gonna go the running back.
we had a lot of fumbles on kick returns this year.
And punt, yeah.
Maybe I had turned the game off by then. I don't know.
I
feel like we never even forced a punt this year. I shouldn't say that. The defense is actually good.
And Tutu Azori, thank you for the super chat, my friend.
Oh, I like that little accent you did there.
Who? See, that's what I'm.
Gallman? No, who are you talking about? The guy, the backup.
Third running back. Why?
Who is it, guys? Dion Lewis, I think his name.
There we go. Thank you. Someone in the
I got it from Jason.
Saved me.
That's why we have these guys. That's why we have the fans. You and I act like we know what we're talking about, but then we
we're just like everyone else. We're fans and we forget.
Let me see. Robinson's 28. All right, that's a fair point. Godwin's 25.
Is Robinson 28?
I didn't think he was that old, but
that's not.
I know more. Well, for a wide receiver, dude, you're only going to be really good for like 2-3 more years after that. But again, I know more about the guys in the draft than I do even in the end. I know the Giants, and I know draft guys. I know a little bit about the rest of the NFL. Like Marco, you probably know more about these other guys than I do. When it comes to these receivers, let me see here.
Free agent wide receivers. Boom.
Well, it's Godwin, it's Robinson, it's Galladay, it's Samuel.
Yeah,
so Robinson is 27 years old. He turns 28 in August.
Any interest in Des Bryant? No. Sammy Watkins?
No. That's we need a real guy. It's time. Yeah.
Larry Fitzgerald, come on, Danny Amendola. Come on, these are big names we're talking.
The fact that you're getting down the list, they're getting worse, Marco. I believe.
That's what's doing. I went to age and I brought the oldest up first.
So we'll see. I don't know. They said my buddy says that they have a fairly easy schedule as of next year, but you can't never tell what that really happened. What that's really like. I don't know what we think about the rest of the NFC East next year. Wide receiver, it's got to be a draft. Galladay and Godwin's are wide receiver 2s. Godwin's a wide receiver 2. I don't know about that.
Well, technically,
maybe on his current team.
Technically, because he plays against Mike, he plays
with Evans.
Side of Evans, yeah.
But
Robinson too expensive. I think that's it. I think that's true. I think we're going to get priced out, especially if you want to bring Leo back. And I like Leo a lot. I'm not a fan of the way they acquired him.
Right.
But he's a good player. No doubt about that.
So this, it sucks, dude, because we want to look into the draft so much, but like none of it matters until free agency, and free agency doesn't open up until, is it March?
When does the free agency, the official, right? Well, let's look.
I think it's, let Let me see.
We don't even know what the cap is. Also, when does
No, we don't. The let's see.
3
March 17th.
Yeah, both got it at the same time.
Yeah. Is that St. Patrick's Day?
I'm not sure.
I think it is.
My Irish friends, please put in the chat when St. Patrick's Day is.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Maybe the Giants will be a little bit lucky. On
Yes.
St. Patrick's Day.
You like Sage Surratt or Seth Williams if we don't drive in round 1. I don't like either of those guys in the first 2 rounds. They're fine, but you're not talking about a game breaker. You're not talking about anything more than a Shepherd or something like that at best. So I think it's about time Jones gets a real weapon. I think it's hopefully a free agent or one of those big 3. And the scary thing, though, like if you're the Giants, Marco, and you think, okay, we absolutely have to get Daniel Jones a weapon. Do you risk going and you think those big 3 are your big 3 receivers in the draft, and then there's a drop off, and then you get the Bateman? Would you risk that, though? Like, would you risk that? Would you risk that there's still a 20-30% chance that all 3 of those guys are gone by 11? And then you're just stuck with your thumb up your ass, like, oh, now what do we do? We're just not going to get him a big target. That's why I think they're going to bring in a receiver in free agency. The question is who and how much, and then do you still consider bringing in Pitts if he's there at 11? I would.
The more I think about it, the more we talk about it. I'm okay if they bring in a like a wide receiver, like a name wide receiver, and then go with Pitts.
Right. Add Saquon. Hopefully, well, then it would kind of be moot to bring in an offensive lineman at that point. They'd probably go defense for the rest of the draft if they brought in a solid wide receiver. If they brought in Pitts, then they would probably just go edge and corner and linebacker. And I think just not the best offensive line.
What was that, edge and what?
And corner.
No, just
after,
not
in the second round, in the third round. Yeah. Let's see. It's going to be Curtis Samuel. If we go free agency, I think 100% Gettleman loves his guys. Pitts has to be it, I think, with the mismatch, unless Chase is there.
Pitts has to be it, I think, with the mismatch.
Pitts probably play wide receiver in the NFL, to be honest. I disagree with you, Hunter. I think people love, because of the mismatches, people would keep him at tight end. I think because of that, you want him to match up against linebackers.
That's the same thing we said about Evan Ingram. He's gonna, he should be playing wide receiver. He can't catch.
That's a major difference between him and Pitts.
Yardley. Randy DJ needs to improve his health and QB skills. Lord. Thank you, Yardley, for this.
That's a very broad indictment of Daniel Jones. He needs to get healthier and learn to play football.
Lord. LAWD, Lord.
All right, let's hear a little detractor here. I dislike drafting Pitts in the first because most of the best tight ends in the league aren't first rounders. Kelsey, Kittle, Ertz, Goddard, Waller, Hunter, Henry. Okay, but I have to trust the professional analysts who say Pitts is like that once every 5 years tight end, that he's doing things they haven't really seen before, that he is just that good. I'm going to go ahead and ride that. I'm not saying you're not right in other years, but this year when you talk about the guys this year in the draft who are just supposed to be like freaks at their position for what they do, you got like Lawrence, you got Sewell at tackle, you got Parsons at linebacker, and you've got, Pitts might even be ranked higher as a tight end than Chase and Smith are as wide receivers. You know what I mean? So,
Will, what are the plans for tomorrow? You think you want to run this again tomorrow?
What are you talking about? Do another pod?
Back to back?
You just want to do it because you're going to figure out how to get your phone working.
Yeah, of course. I want to try to get that going.
Yeah, I could potentially go again tomorrow. I know, it just wouldn't be the same without me. So
yeah, where's your boy Jack? Where's he hiding? He wants to come on too. He could get
I could talk to him. I could bring him in. I could bring him in as a pinch if I have to. He's a starter. He's a starter.
Call the bullpen up. The phone
But
would call the bullpen.
what's up?
If the phone would work, I would call the bullpen.
We'll see. It should be interesting, but we're gonna know so much more. I said I was doing mock drafts like every single day, every single scenario, every single mock draft site, and then I realized this is all moot until free agency. But I think we should probably start doing mocks with the assumption that the Giants have taken a number one wide receiver, and then go from there. And it's interesting what they could do if they do take a receiver. It depends on who's there, but I would love it. I would love it if they took Slater or Darisaw, but I know they won't do that. So I think you're then looking at an edge, which the only one they'll think is probably worthy is Kwity Paye. I think if they take a wide receiver in free agency, there's probably like 4 guys they would potentially take in the first round. Here's a declaration I'm making. Okay,
Let's hear it.
if they grab a wide receiver in free agency, which I think they will, I think the 4 most likely guys that take at 11 are Pitts, Surtain, Farley. Who was my other guy? Paye. That's what I think. I'm not sure they'd pull the trigger on Parsons, although I know Gettleman's all about – Parsons probably goes higher. I know he's all about talent and you know how good the guy is, so he could potentially – maybe I'll make that my 5th guy, Parsons.
I don't know. I really have to see how free agency pans out because I think we're going to have a better idea where we're going.
Yeah. Both corners gone by 11. You got 3 quarterbacks at least going in the top. You got probably 2-3 offensive linemen going in the top. Probably have Parsons going. I mean, what are we already at?
Are the Jets going to throw a monkey wrench into everything?
Are you going to bring up Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, and trade Deshaun Watson.
I don't know if that changes things.
It's going to alter.
But then, hold up, though.
They're going to give their pickup to
Houston gets the number 2.
Houston would get the number 2.
And Houston would have the quarterback.
You never
know. It would be the same. Well, they just got rid of their quarterback. Who's their backup quarterback?
But we don't know. We don't know if they're going to, you know.
No, they probably would trade and then take Fields or Zach.
Do they want to stay at 2 or do they want to try to move up to 1, considering that they're not only going to get a number 2 from the Jets? You think they would try to swap picks? They're going to get
What are you trying to say? They're not. No.
What I'm saying that
the Jaguars aren't giving up the number 1 pick to any. If Jesus was coming out of the draft,
what if Texans show up? Jets give him multiple number 1s, right? Jets give him multiple number 1s to move up.
Yeah.
To trade Watson.
Right.
Do you think they would try to take that and flip it to get the number 1, offering them to? It
doesn't matter. The Jacksonville's not giving up the number 1 pick.
You don't think no one could touch Jacksonville's pick?
No. You have a brand new dude. You got a brand new coach.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the number 1 pick on a guy who's supposed to be a once a decade type of a guy. If you give up that pick, and Trevor Lawrence becomes a Hall of Famer, and Fields or Zach, whatever the hell his name is, doesn't turn out to be that, you'd be like Scott Norwood type of.
I think it's risky. I think that the Jets are going to have to give up a lot to get him, and they're going to have a lot of pieces that if they want to move, they can. And that doesn't even equate with Sam Darnold. Maybe they're throwing Sam Darnold to be their quarterback.
Jacksonville is not giving up that pick. In my opinion, Duke Falconer. I mean, that can't be your real name. If so, you're like a movie star, John Wayne character from the 60s.
We love you.
Would you guys? I feel like he's swinging on a chandelier right now with a magazine of bullets across his chest. Would you guys hate to draft Rashawn Slater? You must have missed the beginning of this pod. No, the second best lineman supposedly. Yeah, him and Darisaw and Sewell are all legitimate, potential top 10 guys. I would be fine taking it, but I'm huge on improving the offensive line. I would move Slater to guard, most likely Duke. Although I wonder, Urban Meyer, any chance they take Fields? I know I just gave you the whole thing on the not giving up the number 1 pick, but any chance they take Fields because of the Ohio State connection?
I don't know. I don't know.
I think Lawrence might be a little overrated. I don't know. He's you know what his passer rating is? I know that's not everything. I know it's not everything, but if you're this once a decade type guy, you'd think you'd have to be in the top 3 or top 5.
Godly like hair.
What?
He has godly like hair.
His passer rating was like 13th in college football this year. I'm like, I know he's, 6 foot whatever and has an arm like this, and that, and he won the national championship. He solidified himself as a number 1 pick when he won the national championship as a true freshman. But I don't know. I actually have Sewell ahead of him on my draft board right now.
As the number 1 overall pick.
No, not as a number 1 overall pick, as a number 1 player on my board. Yeah. No, he came out and said Trevor is the guy.
Did he?
Did Hunter? I'm not saying you're lying, but I doubt they would say. I mean, I haven't heard anybody do that except I guess like a month before the draft, Kyler Murray or whatever.
Why?
He praised
Why?
Trevor when he had the chance to praise Fields. It was
I have a question. Why they have the number 1 pick? Why wouldn't they come out and say he is their player? He is the best player in the draft. Oh, backing you up into the corner right there, am I?
Me?
Yes.
I'm not in a corner. Look at me. I got space all around me. That's a good point. I mean, people just don't do it. People just like an air of mystery. I think the earliest I've seen somebody do it was like Kyler Murray, which was like was it like 2 or 3 weeks before the draft they said they were going to take him? I don't know. Even if I knew for a fact who I was taking, I still don't think I would say anything until draft day. I just think you want to just keep everything close to you just so people can't start.
Because
What?
You don't know, and someone might be stupid enough to give you 4 or 5 or 6 or 7. It's never going to happen. Just I'm embellishing. They're going to give you a boatload.
He thinks Joe Burrow, Duke does, was a better prospect than Lawrence. Hey, you know what? He had better numbers. He won the championship as a senior. Joe Burrow's senior year was as good as anybody. That's why I've said, in my opinion, I don't know that I would say Trevor Lawrence. People say it's like Elway, Peyton, Luck, Lawrence. I would throw in like some like next level guys before I put Lawrence in there, like a Cam Newton, like a Joe Burrow, and say like he's in that plane.
Hunter ready? The Colts did it with Luck.
Did they? I don't remember.
I don't know if they initially.
Well, they had to because the whole horseshoe and Luck and all that. It was just meant. That's stupid. I'm getting real tired here. I'm just trying. I'm going with my comment a bit here.
I don't remember if they did, but I remember knowing that they were going to take him. I don't know if they made it official though.
I think I don't know if they do it this early, but anyway, to answer the questions, I think this all came from someone saying the 3 corners the top 2 corners would be on by 11. And I was just saying, I'm not so sure that's true. I think you've definitely got Sewell. I think there's definitely either Slater and or Darisaw in the first round. Maybe I would probably say both. I'd probably say Parsons.
Mm-hmm.
I would say your 3 quarterbacks. That's already 7. And that's not including any wide receivers. So probably 1 or 2 receivers, 1 or 2, maybe 1 receiver, 1 corner. There's only so many spots in there in that top 10. And there's always a surprise. Remember Cleveland Farrell going to the Raiders in the top. There's always surprises. So especially this year because a lot of people didn't play this year. There might not be a traditional combine this year. So people's draft boards could be vastly different. Just like I have Nico Collins at 30 and some people have him at 80. So anyway.
Do you wanna wrap everything on up?
I do.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I do.
You want to thank
But I love you all. I love you all. Who are these Redskins that Hunter is speaking of? I don't know who those people are. I don't want to be associated with that. Thanks, guys, for commenting. We'll get to your calls next time, hopefully.
It worked out. I don't know what happened. I think I might have to try to figure that out.
Hey, Tuto.
My time zone
6 hours ahead. So, dude, it's 5:30 in the morning. He's waking up for work. What's he doing right now?
Giant Pezzanos made my day already. All right, there we go. I hope you have an amazing day. Will, you're out.
Marco, you're the man. I got to get a Giants hat one of these days. I have one, but it's so small in my head. I just go with the Yankees. Plus, Under Armour sponsors the show, which is why I wear this.
There we go. Free sponsor.
One day, Marco. All right, later, guys.
Peace out.
Peace.
All right, everyone. It's just me and all you guys. I'm gonna wind this down. Oh, what's up, Nick? How you been? We got a few paisanos in the chat. We are gonna big ass head, like that big ass head. We are gonna try to run this back tomorrow. Hope you guys can make it. I don't know what time. Probably around 10. And thank you for all the subscribers, all people with the comments, the calls, the voicemails. See a few people still on, a few people on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all that. And I think that's about it for today. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Yeah. Good night, everyone. Peace.